So I got a bit of a project on today. Going to try and build a new chicken enclosure. Hang on. Well, thank you, Sheriff. That was lovely. Thank you so much. You're such a good boy, aren't you, eh? You're such a good boy. Hello, Sheriff. And there is Deputy. Sheriff, that was a quick trip from the front to the back. You have some business with Deputy, do you? So we've got ourselves into a bit of a problem. We've got another rooster. He's still too young to function as an effective rooster at this point in time, but we need to be able to give him his own space, and he will be working with the hens more effectively than Deputy, because Deputy is trying to harm anything that comes near him. So we are going to create a new space for Deputy, and we are going to go over to those trees over there and fence in a little area for him, so he'll have a nice natural environment to spend his days. And but we've got to work out how to do it, so that's what we're doing today. So you can come along with me today and we'll work out how to fence this space in. I've got to go and get the tractor, get the equipment, and we'll head around over here and try and see what we can do. So let's have a go, shall we? Oh, hello.
Hello.
You're the person I need to see.
All right.
Come on in. Come a little closer. So my plan at this stage is to work out where we need to go, and then I'm going to try and see if I can push the spikes into the ground with the bucket from the tractor. That's my plan at this point. I don't know if that's going to work.
So
but it
you're
would
not
sure
using the post hole digger.
The post hole digger. I think it's too, the circumference is too big for these.
Right.
They should, and particularly with the rain last night. The ground should be loose enough or soft enough to get in. So first of all, my thought is to come out to about here. So you've got about that gap between there and those trees there.
So remember we talked about him needing sun? So we just need to at least give him sun somewhere. Oh, there's a bit of sun in here.
Right, but the sun moves all throughout the day.
Yeah.
And obviously there's sun there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go out further. Another, would you want to come out here?
No, back where you were, because he'll have, if he wants to come out in the sun, he can come out there. And you're right, the sun does move.
So here to about here, so second post here, and then then it would go through here, I'm thinking. Did you want to come through
sure.
with me so we can do the loop? So probably about here, and then track over to here.
Yep.
Here to back to here, and this is, and we probably have a gate here. So so that's the other piece I have to work out, is how to make a gate. But
Yep.
I presume if that's 8 posts there, then I can stretch a bit of fencing between the two,
Yep.
between two,
Yep.
and then have a tie system that we can.
Yep.
So what I'll do now is I'll back up the tractor. We'll position the first post. I'm then going to try and work out if I can get this in with this. If I can't get it in with this, I'm going to have to try and find that sledgehammer and use that. But this would be the easiest way, at least, to do the outside one.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening next.
Yeah. So I'm going to hold it. You're
so
going to
what?
hammer
Yeah.
it.
So when I get set up, if you'll just hold the thing, and I'll go to try and work out an angle on it to get it
to not hit my head.
I'm not gonna. Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I'm gonna place the bucket on top of the thing and push.
Okay. Great.
There won't be any knocking actions happen.
Great.
But I can appreciate and understand your concern about me just going in and smashing down with the bucket.
Well, that's what I thought you were planning on doing, and I was like, okay.
So that's as fast as it can go.
Huh? Just need to go back a bit.
Come back a bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great. That works.
Yeah.
It's a bit crooked, but that's all right. We'll get better as we go. What are you doing?
Okay, move your head this way, away from the bucket. All right, so the posts are all in. Now I'm going to try and work out how to put this all together. I think they've gone in pretty well, actually. I'm impressed with myself. Sorry about that. Sometimes I amaze myself. All right. But the actual part that counts is the next part. So let's see what happens here. So this is Avery mesh. So far, so good. Day 2 of working on the fence project. Yeah, I worked for about 4 hours the other day. Ended up getting pretty hot, and so I stopped. And at that point, I was realizing that I needed more star posts in the ground. I was trying to stretch the fence wire too far. In the end, right now, I'd have to say I'm a little bit disappointed with what I am able to do on my own, but at exactly the same time, I'm also recognizing I am on my own. I'm not a fencer, and this is a temporary measure. With the tools that I have, I don't have any equipment that I can stretch the wire with. I'm just trying to tie it together with metal ties, and it's okay, but let me show you what I've done so far. So here we still have to go. So this is where I've got to get back up to here, around here, and that'll be my gate over there. Just got to bring that roll of wire around the back here. This is what I've done so far. And I forgot my lapel mic today, so forgive the sound. The chooks are already starting to explore the space, right? So I've come down here, around there. The best part I've done so far is actually get the posts in the ground. I'm pretty happy with that. I ended up trying to take off some slack by double wrapping it here. But I discovered that we do have a sledgehammer in the shed, and so I got the sledgehammer, and that allowed Emmy to be able to step aside and not be involved anymore. But I've been able to get that in with the sledgehammer. Then, as I was doing before, just put the bucket on top and drive it in the ground. I think at the end of the day, they're all pretty secure, at least for a temporary measure. There's a part of me that's saying, you know, this is not going to last. It's going to be a waste of time, and so that makes it hard. But if you don't try, you never know. And so that's the principle I'm trying to work on at this point in time in the process. So let's see how we go. All right, well, coming to the last 2 posts, and then I've got to try and manufacture a gate for that space there. Got to work that one out. But along the way, particularly today, actually, I've figured out a few things. Now, I don't know if I figured out things that are incredibly obvious or whether they're stupid. And no one in their right mind would think of doing it the way that I'm doing it. But there's been some things that have helped me get this last piece finished a little bit faster than what I was working on the weekend. So, number one is the end of the wire is incredibly difficult to find every time I cut a piece of wire. And I've discovered if I stick it in the ground, it's easy to find. Secondly, one of the things that's really frustrated me and haven't been able to effectively work it out. I figure that if you're actually doing this professionally, you have some kind of mechanism to stretch the fence tight, and so at the end of the day, this is woefully inadequate in terms of how tight the fencing is. But I do have a little bit of an awareness about something. First of all, I need to actually crease it around that bend. Otherwise, it tends to just fold. What would be the right word? Wrap around, and that creates looseness. But if I do this, if I take a screwdriver, and I'm probably better off doing it from the other side, actually. take a screwdriver. And for that last little bit, if I just use one of these holes for a bit of tension while I'm getting the thing in place. That's just I got to get my wire first. But that's the goal, is to stretch it out a little bit like that. Doesn't do a lot, but it does give me a little bit. But anyway, so here's, I think, probably the biggest thing I've learned, and that's this. I was cutting about this long because that's about all you need for the thing. But what I discovered was it makes it very tedious to do the winding. I was trying to save wire. You know what? I don't think I need to save wire. So what I've decided is about 3 times that size gives me purchase on the wire when I'm folding it. And so that is actually makes it a lot easier. Okay, so there's my, now this will be the top one here. Well, you just get a little bit of tension there. Don't even have, there we go. And I stick my knee against that. I can actually hold it a little bit tight, a little bit tighter. But I think it's better than what it was. I also discovered that I had been way too conservative in the number of posts I put in. I thought I could do it in about 10 because I counted them out. But anytime you have a section that's longer than about 2 or 3 meters, 3 meters probably, it's just there's just way too much slack in the wire, in the fence. All right, so now this is the part that I recognise is underdone. I haven't got a lot of choice about this. One of the things that I said to Emmy when I started, I said, I really think I need snub nose pliers. All we could find were these needle nose pliers, and there is some advantage with the needle nose because they actually give me ability to reach through the fence and grab a piece of wire if I can't quite get it through. But in terms of the wind up, it doesn't give me enough grip to actually effectively wind it up. So I end up doing a lot by hand, but yeah, that is a couple more stuff that I'm unraveling. And then cut it off. And I put the pieces in my pocket with this discarding later. It occurred to me as soon as I did the first one, and I did drop it on the ground, that at some stage if we're mowing, that is going to come straight up into the mower. Or someone walking around, step on it. So my ignorance in the first place was dealt with relatively quickly. I'm glad about that. I'm just trying to wrap these around so that it's not sticking out. All right, so now I'll do this again on the bottom. So there's my, now one of the other, there's 2 questions I have about this that a person that is a fencer or works on a property and has done this semi-regularly was, so on this post, the hole is the front of the post. On some of the others, it's at the back of the post. And I can see advantages of doing both ways. This is a lot easier to feed, but I wonder if you get a tighter pull if it's around the back of it. I don't really know. The other thing was, see that the gap between the two wires. If I stick a wire through here and a wire through here and tie it off there, is that better than a wire through here and a wire through there, and so only tying it off against one? I'm thinking 2 is better, but I don't know. But maybe someone could tell me what they think. My very big concern is I'm making such a botched job of this that people watching are going to go, oh no, what a disaster. But it's the world I live in, and I am just trying to work it out, giving it a shot. All right, that's the second last one. Moving up to the last one here. I think I've got enough wire here to finish the job. Just, I said to Emmy when we bought the wire, I think I need about 50 metres, and they sold in 30-metre bundles, so we got 60 metres. And I think I went a little bit further out than when I first measured it. But it's looking like it's exactly right. The other question is, what do you think? Would it be better to tie the bottom first or the top first? I started off trying to tie the bottom first. I found it easier to do the top first because it holds it into place. But I don't know if that's the best way of doing it. I love that little clip when it cuts it through. When it happens silently, I get a little bit disappointed. It's one of those noises, you know, that I don't know, what's that thing where they have all the different noises that you listen to, and it's supposed to do something for your emotions? I have no idea. I've seen it on YouTube a couple of times, not a lot. But you know, all the people have put together these little videos with all different sorts of noises in it. It's supposed to move you emotionally because they're good noises. Maybe you can tell me what that's called. But I think it's one of those things where you snip it and it goes clip, and it just makes you feel good. There we are. And stick it in the ground. There we go. So that's the other thing with doing the longer pieces of wire, is that when I was first doing this, I found it really hard to grab that wire through the fence. It's just so obvious. Longer piece of wire is just so much more able to be manipulated, and is a lot easier. I wanted to be conservative, save a bit of wire. All right. Last one of the chook fence. You're not Australian. You may not have heard that term before. But somehow in our history, we have found it much more convenient to call chickens chooks. And I have to keep reminding myself to not call them chooks if I'm communicating to people that aren't Australian, or educate them. Look at these mozzies. I don't know if you can see them, but there's just swarming en masse. Biting. Not happy about that. All right, let's move this out of the road. I'm going to snip this fence off and then see if I can make a gate. I'll come down this one and wrap that around. I might even tie that off, actually, if I can. That lovely sound. So what I think I'll try and do with the gate is make this the fixed end. Now, if making a gate, I put a second post in anyway. So I have been thinking I'll put a post here and a post there, and then loop it here and here, and then have one loop down that end that you can lift off over the top. and swing it out. Pretty crude, but would that work? Would it be better to actually fix it to this end here? Actually, I don't think so. I think my original idea is actually probably right. Tie that off. So what I've got to do is then tie that there and that there. Okay. I'll put this here. I want it so that I can wrap it around. Oh, actually, you know what? I can probably use the wire itself to make sure it's straight. So if I go, let's say, have it on the third line in and straight along that line, then if I, well, third, it doesn't matter which line, does it? It's not going to be the third line in, that's for sure. But if I make sure it lines up with the right, hang on there. If I line it up, then that's going to be the closest to actually parallel, right? Don't feel that dumb about that. That seems like that's probably right. That's the other issue, isn't it? So I've got, let's see, it's about that far. So if that one's the same distance between these two holes, it is roughly halfway between those two holes, maybe a little bit closer to the top hole than the bottom one. So let's just go closer. That's about right there. All right, and we're going to go there. Okay, and then we're going to go. You know what the best part about watching the videos of somebody make something is that you can cut the video down. So I'm guessing I'm going to have spent 6, maybe 7 hours doing this. We'll get it down to 3 or 4 minutes, and it'll look easy. All right, now that's the one I want. We have had a lot of problems with, well, we call them crows routinely, but they are 100% ravens. But I do not know the difference between a raven and a crow anyway. So we keep calling them crows, but we've had problems with them because they will walk into the chicken coop when the doors are open to let the chickens walk in and out. They will walk in, pick up an egg, and walk out like they're shopping. But they do not pay at the cash register. So we did, if you've looked at some of the other videos, you'll probably seen the scarecrow we made. He's got an old shirt and some jeans, stuffed it full of hay, and sat him in a chair at the front door. And for the most part, to date, it's worked pretty well. But I think they have just worked out. So what we do is we close the door so it's about 90% shut, which actually the chooks don't mind at all. They just walk past it, no problem at all. But the crows will not walk past that scarecrow with that door closed the way it is. Up until about 2 or 3 days ago, and they started being a little bit more adventurous. So now we've got to work out the next step. So what I have, okay, so that makes sense. I'm going to have to feed it through here because I've got to be able to hold it in position, right? And then that there is the point that I want to be able to reach. Okay, well. So then if I have a loop through there, well, there it is. Crude, rude, perhaps unattractive, but maybe functional, at least in the short term. So let's have a quick run around, see how we go in here. So we've got all that nice space in there, in amongst the trees. Looking at trees, we'll shoot through here. Watch out for the spider webs. Beautiful rainforest trees, lovely. Down here, this is probably my worst part of the fence. Discovered when I put it together that I had that wrapping around part that I was talking about earlier. It just didn't work. I've tried to just shorten it up just to give it a little bit more attention, but not sure that worked. But we'll see. We shall see. We're living by faith here. All right, we go all the way around. So let's see. That's probably 8 to 10 meters along that line there. Then we go up through here. And gorgeous. The coolness in here is amazing. Look at the little buttress roots on this one. Very typical rainforest tree. That's beautiful, isn't it? How amazing. I love this space. Anyway, enough. But look at this. I did that. All right. There we go. This morning is his first day in his new arrangement. He's going to take me through the fence. I think he's going to end up liking it. It's got a lot more interesting features than his old fence, his old pen. But he loves to play. You think Bailey thinks when Deputy goes after him that he's playing one of those games where dogs jump down and jump up again. He loves it. She loves it. No filters, just farm. Hamilton Acres Farm.